Sagittarius, welcome to your March 2018 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So, Sag, I want to just talk about something that connects with your solar chart and your natal chart, because I do get people asking me, well, this is falling in my fourth house if I am a sun in Sagittarius, but what about my rising sign? Which one should I listen to and stuff like that? What I do is I look at both, and I don't make a real concerted effort to try to find out what my solar information is, because even with the solar information, you still have to pay attention to the degree. For instance, the first transit I'm going to talk about is the full moon on the 1st of March, and this is going to be at 11 degrees of Virgo. So my sun is at a later degree of Sagittarius than 11 degrees, okay? So for Sagittarius, if we just look at it in general, what I'm going to say is that this is falling in our 10th house. However, mileage may vary, and if you are someone who is born before that 10-degree mark or 11-degree mark, it will definitely be in that house. But if you're born after 11 Sag, which will be probably someone born starting on December 1st or so. I mean, it depends year by year. It will actually be in your 9th house, if I have that correctly. I'm not one of those people that can just like in my mind figure some of these things out, but I think it would be the house before that would make more sense. So the point being that it would be something, but let me just, I know this is really convoluted. The whole point of me even mentioning this is because I wanted to take my knowledge of my natal chart and compare it to the solar chart, where the full moon will be in my 9th house. So the 9th house could be, for me, it's not going to be, I don't think I'm going to be finishing a long distance trip because I'm not going anywhere. So I think that this would be more likely in the publishing area. Something with a writing project of mine. Maybe I get a great idea for it. I don't think I would be finishing something, but you never know. I might be working on an internet project, and even that could be a form of publishing per se. So in my natal chart, this full moon is falling in my 5th house, which deals with creativity, love, and the business that you own. Well, that goes very nicely with the business that I own, and maybe a website, maybe something that I'm publishing, like a blog that I start. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. If you know your natal chart, you can work with the solar information also and see how they compare, how they link up, and you don't have to choose one over the other. You can kind of incorporate them together. So I hope that if some people have some questions about that, that sort of answered it. So looking at this in a universal way, there will be a full moon on the 1st at 11 degrees of Virgo in the 10th house for Sagittarians. The 10th house is the house where we shine in the world. So full moons can bring some kind of recognition for the things that you're doing, or just any kind of things that you have already done that maybe are starting to pay off for you. I always use the example of the overnight sensation that has been actually working for 10 years, doing whatever they're doing, whether it's, they say somebody who's written a novel that is a bestseller an overnight sensation. They don't mention that they've written 10 unpublished novels that were rejected by different publishers. They just focus on the one that's successful. Same with actors. We always assume people become famous and they've never done anything before, and that's not always the case. Sometimes they've been really toiling away in obscurity. This is the opposite of obscurity. This is you having the spotlight on you, and people, it's like you're on stage, no matter what it is that you're doing, and people are seeing your talents. It can also be that you're finishing some kind of project for your career. On the 6th of the month, Mercury and Venus both go into Aries. So we're talking about 4th to 5th house transits. In the 4th house, these two planets are very communicative. And, well, Mercury, but Venus can indicate some kind of monetary gain through real estate, through any kind of connection to your family of origin, your mother in particular. And there could be negotiations with Mercury there, where there is something, maybe you're the one that is, you're setting up a trust and you're going to take care of her estate. And maybe somehow you benefit from it. Maybe she signs over a house to you, and so you get to use it, whatever. I mean, there are so many possibilities. Now it's going into the 5th house, which is kind of like playtime. It's you being able to kind of access that inner child in whatever way. The 5th house is romance. So with Mercury and Venus both entering there at the same time, you could be into a full-blown love affair. Now, the nice thing about this is that Mars hasn't arrived. There's nothing wrong with Mars, but Mars is lust. And it's nice to have a conversation with somebody and to have romantic feelings for them. And they're coupled, Mercury and Venus going into that 5th. It's nice to have that as a prelude to anything else, because then you get to really know someone first, and that's always helpful. Because you never know. You may like somebody, but you decide that you're not really a good match romantically. I think that it's still possible for any single Sagittarians to fall in love. If you've been feeling like, oh, when is this going to get here? Uranus is in Aries, and I can't remember exactly when it's going into Taurus. It's going to go into Taurus, and then it's going to retrograde back into Aries. So you have these times when it's in that 5th house with Aries, where you could meet somebody out of the blue. You know, Uranus is all about surprises. So the main challenge for Sagittarians who are single, and maybe a long time you've been single, is to keep a positive attitude. Don't give up on love, because it may find you in the most bizarre but interesting and kind of random, yet not random, areas. So anyway, Mercury and Venus in the 5th house can indicate that, it can also indicate that if you are an artistic person, you are just really, you've got, like, you're brimming with creativity, ideas are just coming to you. By the way, I just want to, sometimes I've been forgetting this, is to mention that there is going to be a Mercury retrograde in March. March 22nd. I can't remember the degree. I think it's 14 Aries, not entirely sure. But this is going to be in that 5th house. And for some of you, this may involve hearing from an old love. And it wouldn't be necessarily someone that was an ex-spouse. It might be somebody that you dated briefly. Maybe you just kind of wrote them off for some reason. Maybe they just kind of did a disappearing act and all of a sudden they show up again. Well, it's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to go there again. But I have a feeling that there's someone else in the picture as well. You may go from having nobody to having like two people that you have to juggle. And the other thing I wanted to note too is that because Mercury and Venus are coming from the fourth house, you may actually initially meet this person in your hometown. Maybe you went to visit a parent, and this is somebody from your past even. This could be somebody from your past. This seems to be a recurring theme with a lot of people of various signs, that they are connecting with old loves. And so it could be that you connected with them. Maybe they were not a love. Maybe they were like a friend of your brother or sister. And it's like, oh, wow, I really like this person. And you start dating them and you start feeling that sense of attraction towards them. So that's happening. On St. Patrick's Day, the 17th, Mars goes into Capricorn, which is the second house. So that means, Sagittarius, that until this date, Mars is in our sign, because I too am a Sagittarian. So as I record this, I'm trying to think if Mars has gone into Sag yet. I think it has, not sure. I probably should bring up the ephemeris when I do these readings. That might be a plan, right? Instead of saying, I think, that's not very exact. Yeah, actually, Mars went into it in late January. So Mars is in our sign. Maybe the reason I don't personally feel it is because I'm a later degree of Sagittarius. So if you're watching or listening in February, you still have probably at least a month. Yeah, probably it'd have to be like a month or so of Sag in your sign. And that should give you more of an energetic feeling, as well as just kind of stepping into your own skin, because Mars really directs us in life. It's kind of our GPS in a way, where it tells us what is it that we desire? And even who do we desire? It's the sex drive, but I don't want to just limit it in terms of relationships to the sex drive. I think that if we look at how it plays out in other areas, and Mars being our ambition, okay? In relationships, we can say the same thing. Are we on the same page? Or does that person want to do something that I totally don't want to go? Does he or she want to go? You may meet somebody and feel this sense of affinity for them, but you get to talk to them more, and they want children and you don't. Well, that's a biggie. I don't think that it's wise to get involved with somebody when you don't want children and they do, because that could cause problems down the road for sure. Resentment. You might still stay together and secretly both are hoping the other will change their mind, but it's really not fair to either party. Everyone has a right to what they want. It's not wrong to want children. It's not wrong not to want them. So anyway, just my 2 cents on that. So that's happening on St. Patrick's Day. I always say St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, because it feels weird to not acknowledge it since it's a holiday. Of course, living in Chicagoland, as I do, St. Patrick's Day is a big deal because there are a lot of Irish people. I'm half Irish myself. And it was a real problem because people were getting drunk downtown. And so what they started doing, which it drives me crazy, they move it up a week. So it's like you celebrate St. Patrick's Day on the 10th or whatever the date is. And to me, it's so stupid because how can you celebrate something that's not on that date? And guess what? They get drunk on March 10th then. So it's really, if a person wants to get drunk, they're going to get drunk. If you move it up to July, they're going to get drunk. And the thing is, that might be why Oktoberfest is in September. I'm always wondering, why is it not in October? That's probably the same reason. Okay. And then, because I think that's a drinking. Isn't Oktoberfest basically an excuse to drink beer? I don't know. Anyway. So, a new moon is going to be on the 17th as well. So we have Mars going into Capricorn and the new moon in Pisces, 26 Pisces. And that's going to be in that fourth house. So you had Venus there. It's possible maybe some of you, with Mercury and Venus in the fourth house, maybe you're closing on a house. Maybe you bought a house or you sold your house. Mercury can be contracts. And so now it's a new beginning in your home sector for some reason. And then on the last day of the month, the 31st, oh, you know something? Oh my God, I can't believe this. I haven't been, that's really embarrassing. I wonder if I'm going to have to take down the rest of those videos because I didn't mention that there's a blue moon on the 31st. So I think I'm going to have to start all over again. With your video is the only one that's going to be up. Venus is going into Taurus on March 31st, and this will be the 6th house for Sagittarians. And Venus in the 6th house can mean that you are looking to improve your health in some way, and you're doing so not just in terms of wanting to feel better, but wanting to look better. So typically we would say losing weight because that seems to be a big, reason why people want to improve their health when it comes to looks. But it's going to also mean that you may be investing in equipment that allows you to do this. So we're talking about high-speed blenders. I mentioned a Vitamix. Somebody got a kick out of that. And by the way, I can vouch for Vitamixes are great. I mean, I bought a refurbished one, but even that was very expensive. I think they've gone down in price if I'm not mistaken, so check it out. But it's very, I use it probably every day or at least, almost every day. And it really does make a difference when you're making smoothies. It makes it very smooth. So you may be like investing, maybe it's exercise equipment, or maybe you're going to, it's usually luxury items. For some people, this is your workplace. So you may be, there may be something going on at work that is really starting to make you feel very comfortable there. Because Venus is a harmonizer. So if you were in one office and you didn't like it, and there was a lot of negativity, you may be moving to a new department in your, whatever that company is. You could find love at work, in the workplace. They often don't advise as much, but hey, people do what they do, right? And you could be making more money. Venus can bring money to that sector. So anyway, Sagittarius, on this same day, we have another blue moon, this time in Libra, at 10 degrees of Libra. So this is your 11th house of hopes and wishes. So maybe something comes about. It's possible that it's connected to that full moon at the beginning of the month, which is why this is a blue moon, because it's the second full moon in the month. And something career related that goes your way that is comes to culmination, kind of like sets off a chain reaction, and another goal of yours comes into play. Now, I'll give you one example that is a little bit different. The 10th house can be ending, so it's possible, if you're a certain age, that you retire around the 1st of March. And so that maybe in your retirement package, you get a certain bonus or something. And then, or even, let's forget about the money aspect of it. Just by retiring, now you get to fulfill a long-term goal of being able to travel. And now you're going to be traveling for months at a time because you have that freedom. And of course, Sagittarians love freedom, so that's not far-fetched. But the 11th house is the house of hopes and wishes. So you may be somehow fulfilling some kind of a dream of yours. It could be the ending of a friendship. But, you know, it's funny. The full moons can bring out secrets as well as awareness. So it's possible that when I say it's the end of a friendship, some people may be like, oh, that's terrible. But really what happens is you may see your friend in a new light, the light of the moon. And you realize that there's something about that relationship that isn't good for you. And you end it, but it's not a bad thing that you ended. It's actually a good thing. So that's an example of how when we make these kind of blanket statements or things like that, it can sound bad, but in retrospect, it's really a good thing. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this, Sagittarius. If you'd like a private reading, I have different types, including natal chart interpretations, and the link is below. I wish you all the best in March. Take care. Bye.